Hey guys, and welcome to Vanguard Tactics. I'm Stephen Box, and today I'm joined with Joe Coles. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good, thank you. Hello.
So welcome back to another live Q&A, and in this video we're going to be talking all things 9th edition in regards to tournaments. We have just finished literally last weekend running the first event of 9th edition here in the UK. And the reason why we wanted to do that is because at Vanguard Tactics we really want to be at the point, some might say, of tactics and at the absolute pinnacle. And in order to do that we need to see events unfold, we need to play, we need to get that experience, and ultimately, going over theory crafting, math hammer's one thing, but experience on the tabletop really gives us that next level, and we want to impart all those things that we've learned with you. Now, I will say a couple of things. There is a video over on Facebook, on the Vanguard Tactics Facebook, so if you want to hear about more from the player's perspective of how they felt the event ran, what that was like, then go over that. It's about a 4-minute video, go and check it out. But hopefully it'll give you a bit of an idea of what the event was all about. There was also a fantastic review from 40K Stat Center, which can be found on the Frontline Gaming Network on YouTube and also podcasts. They interviewed me, they interviewed the winner of the event, and they ultimately gave us a really good rundown of how that event played out. This was actually a GT. I did get confirmation that 30 players is a GT. And also Goonhammer have just released a review as well. So you can check out the Goonhammer review on that also, about how Goonhammer found our event as they did attend, and it was fantastic to see them. You played Liam, didn't you?
I did play Liam. Fun story, me and Liam play tested the week before. We played a game, then we played each other game 6, the exact same mission, the exact same armies, a few changes in my army, and the exact same table layout.
So
and he was a darling. He was a treat to play against.
So that's all about playtesting, right? Practice makes permanent. Doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. That's exactly why we practice. So welcome everybody to the chat. We will be answering questions as we go, but what are we kicking off first with?
So, about the event.
We'll
start pre-event. What was the single most forefront thing?
Safety. Safety for us was absolutely paramount. And if we couldn't do a safe event, then it wasn't going to go ahead. Everything we do at Vanguard Tactics, we've got the motto, if we can't do it properly, then we don't do it, okay? And we wanted the local council approval, we had environmental health, we worked with them throughout the entire time to make sure this event would be safe for everybody. And I truly believe we achieved that. And there are, shall I go into some of the details of how we managed to do that?
Yeah, because I think it's important that people know how hard we worked for it, but also how hard other events should kind of be working for your safety as well as their kind of thing, basically. Because
one thing I will say, and I really hope you guys take this in the right way, we put in hundreds of hours to get this event safe. Now the player pack that I constructed with the help of Matt here from Vanguard Tactics, the guys here from Foreground, to the point where I went to actually draw up a floor plan to Entoyment. I drove there, measured out every single inch of that floor plan to construct this player pack, and already other events have copied that player pack. There are elements I've seen already, word for word, they've copied our player pack. They haven't asked for permission. And bear in mind, if that's a different location, then they're using a floor plan based on another venue. So there's already people will be starting to take shortcuts. And just because we ran an event doesn't automatically mean that event should happen again.
It's flattering that people want to follow in our footsteps and do what we've done. But you've got to do the legwork yourself in terms of making sure you are being approved by the council, the government. People have looked into it, and you can say that you're supplying stuff, but you've kind of got to make sure that the stuff that you're supplying is up to grade. It's from the right people.
Yeah.
So
and it was packed at the right time.
Yeah.
You know, if you're packing your PPE under 72 hours before you hand it out, it's probably, well, you could be running a risk there.
Yeah.
We work with a charity here called For Good, and they pack everything 72 hours before it gets sent out to the NHS.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's all these considerations that happened and that actually went on in the background, and the player pack that I put out as a draft copy was massively updated with subsequent emails to all of the attendants.
Yeah.
And actually there was a lot of details missed out on that because I had to do a full briefing in the morning that highlighted some other very event specific things, and they are the key things that actually allowed us to get that green tick and green light from the local council. So if you are going to an event, please make sure that you're doing your diligence, and if you're a TO and you need help, contact us. Okay, we are happy to help, obviously within reason of our time and things, but we want people to be safe.
Yeah, and we sent out a new player pack the day before with an updated email informing people what they should be doing on the day, making sure that there's people weren't bringing anything they didn't need. We were supplying the stuff that they did need. Like we did, don't ask people to bring gels and face masks and stuff like that. Make sure you're giving it to them, because then it's coming from a controlled environment, stuff like that. And also we offered full refunds on the door. Yeah,
literally, I gave the morning briefing and I said to everybody, if any of you right now do not feel safe, or you do not feel like you can comply with these rules, or you feel like the rules are too restricting of your enjoyment, I am happy to give you a full refund. And that was before they even walked in the door. So I gave them one last chance, and we actually had 0 dropouts.
Even game 6, still 100% attendance. So.
And also, you know, it's one of those things that we had to give 0 yellow cards out for misconduct in terms of PPE. Everybody handled it beautifully. So anyway, the event was safe. We took, and I'm telling you now, we took a lot of criticism in the weeks leading up to it.
Oh, a lot.
And as Arnold Schwarzenegger, my absolute hero, always says, ignore the naysayers and trust yourself. Okay, and they are words that I've absolutely lived by. And you know, it's one of those things that if I set my mind to do something, I'm going to achieve it.
But it's like people naysaying, it's almost compelling. Like I'm going to do this not in spite of you, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway, but I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it properly. And a lot of people said it's safer going to our event this weekend than going to the supermarket
or the pub. And obviously this is, bear in mind, their opinion. This isn't actually fact. So I'm not saying, you know.
But like everyone there was strapped up, covered in gel, safe. Like, and it all played well. So with that ahead, like in terms of like planning and prep, we had a big team on terrain.
We did. So we had a complete setup team on the Friday. One of the things that we did on the Friday as well was we actually alternated table arrangement. And the reason why we did this, and again, this was a subtle change that I'd made to the floor plan, was actually by alternating tables. When people play Hammer and Anvil, they can stay 2 meters apart.
So you had one like that, then one like that, and then one like that.
And we actually role-played everything. So it could literally be one of those things now where, you know, the new mat size really helped that cut down on space. It means we have a place for rolling, because we gave everybody dice trays, we gave everybody dice. And the terrain, what we decided with terrain for this event was we obviously used the Vanguard series terrain. And we had 3 different styles or 3 layouts of the terrain. Okay, so they're all random. So you had 15 tables, 3 different layouts. Okay, and that meant that pretty much everybody played on a different layout, and maybe you play on the same layout twice. All right. But however, go on. What are you going to say?
But the terrain itself. is a different style.
Is different style. So the layout is similar, the footprint of the buildings are similar, but the style is different. We had Mars, desert, snow, city ruins, jungle, necrotech.
Yeah.
So we've got 6 different types of terrain, all come in a variety of colours.
Yeah.
So a lot of people said, actually, they turned up to the table, and even if you're playing on the same layout, the chances of you playing on the exact same table are very, very slim. So, and then I made sure the judges went round. I allocated judges for different tables, and they would make sure the terrain was set up correctly before every single round. So you're not getting to the place where you're like, oh, I think that piece of terrain's over here, mate, and you're like looking at it like, I don't think so. Every bit of terrain was set up properly.
And a lot of effort went into actually just planning the layouts.
Yeah.
In themselves, there was a lot of like jiggery pokery measure, like literally down to half an inch in a lot of cases.
Measuring things out. Can a knight move through this gap?
Yeah.
Because if not, it's not playable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like does one deployment have more terrain in it than another one?
Yeah.
Are there too many buildings in range of objectives, or are too many objectives
open?
Just too far out. So. And we had to go through 3 different layouts on essentially 9 different deployment types of missions.
Well, we picked 6 different missions, didn't we? So we had essentially 18 variations we had to test out.
Yeah.
And that was the week leading. We were just playtesting to make sure that every single person that came had a really enjoyable experience at the table. Yeah. They weren't there like, oh, well, great, I'm in this corner and I've got no objectives and I'm going second and I'm going to get tabled. Yeah. We did not want any of that. And actually the feedback was, best event I've ever attended.
Yeah.
The terrain was the best event I've ever seen consistently, and this is coming from some of the top players. We had players there like William Albers, who's a fantastic Tau player. I played him. We had a great game. He had only positive things to say. Yeah. This is somebody that's made the top 8 of the LVO numerous times. We had Alex Harrison, who's won the LVO, came second. Yeah. So he had wonderful things to say. We also had Alex Petford come. He came, I think he made the top 8 of the LVO last year. So we had a real high caliber of players there.
It was like, because we'd originally pitched it as just a 9th edition event, we'll learn to play, but there was a huge breadth of player skill, player level.
You were there?
Type. I was there. Like, I thought, I'm just going to stay in the soft play area at the bottom, just paddle around, maybe throw some like plastic balls around. It'll be great.
That's what Joe normally does.
But everyone got stuck in, basically.
Like, we had guys, first ever event,
and
actually placing well, and I think every single game finished, we got every single person to turn 5. Yeah. That was one thing that I stressed to every single player. All of you will make to basically turn 5, because I hate it when I'm at an event and, if I get slow played, for example, and then my score's massively reduced because I didn't have the time to score the points. Even if you're basically just, going through those turns, and we made sure referees were able to do that and facilitate that to happen. First 2 rounds were 3 hours long, all the others were 2.5. We didn't have anyone that really went over by more than 5 minutes. Nope. We had a couple of things that, we didn't have a hard dice down approach.
Sometimes, like, you'll get to the end of a round and, like, the last person in that turn will have, like, a few things to do. Yeah. But, why did you want to have a 3-hour first 2 rounds?
And the reason for that is because I wanted everyone to feel comfortable at the tabletop, which is again one of our ethoses at Vanguard Tactics, because it's a new edition. The rules have only been out a week, so it takes a bit of time to read through the secondaries. It's not like ITC, where even now, while not playing ITC for literally 4 months, I could probably name all 13 secondaries.
Yeah. And as organisers we were going into the building, having people obviously wearing a mask the first time for like indoors for a long period of time, they're going to be a little bit discombobulated. So you got to give them time to bed in. Yeah. I actually think it's a good way to go, because I've often at events completely mucked up my first game because I'm just not mentally prepared, ready, a bit rushed, a bit over the top. So knowing you've got a little bit of extra time for a little bit of extra thinking really helps.
And we ran smoothly 2 times across the day. We finished on time. So I was really happy with overall how it went, which was great. So obviously, if you've guys got any questions about anything else we've spoke about so far, please pop it in the chat. We can, and also some of the terrain that I showed or I spoke about is actually on that Facebook video. That's over on our Vanguard Tactics page, and I probably will upload it to YouTube as well. It's just a bit obviously random, but yeah, essentially we will now be running more Vanguard Tactics Grand Series going forward. We're hoping to put one on at the end of September. Okay, we do not have a confirmed location yet, but tickets are gonna go on sale. Like a secret dinner party.
Because you want to get in as quickly as possible, and you want to reserve your place, knowing that you're gonna go to it. And if you can get in early, you tell the wife, tell the girlfriend, tell boyfriend, tell whatever. I am not available
this weekend. Not this one.
But the end of September.
End of September.
But like, I'm not going to be available then, and then they know. Now you're getting it in early.
And we'll give people refunds. It's not a problem if you can't make it, or if the event's too far away. But look, the last event sold out in a week, and we only gave people 2 weeks' notice. And it was a brand new edition, so a lot of people didn't even have a painted army. A lot of people didn't want to come because obviously they didn't think it would be safe, and that was in the back of their minds. But now you've been reassured that we can do it. And actually, the environmental health have actually told us that we're going to become the pilot study for tabletop gaming in the UK, and they will help us ensure that all future events can go ahead safely, again with the government's guidelines. Obviously, if we get put down in a second lockdown, obviously we won't be able to, but whilst we can, we will.
Because wargaming events before this, didn't have a classification. It's not like casino, pub, restaurant, stuff like that.
We're not a church. We, obviously there is a lot of religion in 40k, but we're not classified as a religion.
So that's one of the hardest turnarounds that we had, just the fact that they have nothing to go by already, which is one of the struggles. So we're kind of, in a way, as big-headed as it sounds, we were good to be the first one to start it, because then they've got a really high level to measure all other events by.
For us, it was go big or go home. Obviously, there was a lot of pressure on us, not only from critics and things like that, but also from what the local authorities were watching out for and things. And if you Google the term Vanguard, do you know what it actually means? Leading the way. That's why I chose it. So leading the way now.
Because you like Vanguard Marines?
I do like Vanguard vets as well. I mean, there was a lot of, and Vanguard deployment is my favourite.
Anyway. So it's good done, and it also means that by going first, leading the way, showing everyone how it's done, means that if you do go to an event, you've got something to compare it by. And you're saying, like, I've come into the hall, no one here's wearing masks, or there's no gel available to me. Like, these guys here,
or people are touching my models, or they're touching my dice.
You then have the right to turn around to the people running it and be like,
it's not safe.
It's not safe. We know what is safe. Put that in place, or I'm going home.
And the other thing, like, a lot of people said, "Oh, Steve, your event costs more than the LGT or some other big events here in the UK." Expect prices to go up for events. Okay, please expect that now to happen during or after COVID. Pre-COVID prices, where everyone was, I've been at those events where you're literally like touching bums, you're that close to the person behind you. That cannot happen. Okay, and that is like. But hall hire, they don't go, I tell you what, because you can fit in half the people will charge you half the amount. No, they've still got to pay for all the bills of the hall hire anyway. So actually you can, in your hall hire and hotels and everything to put up all the staff, what you call a sort of fixed outgoing. So let alone the terrain, the mats and everything. So put that to one side. All the PPE that you have to get, and then obviously it's disposed of. Hotels, you can't take that to every event.
No.
The event hire itself is a lot more expensive. Trophies, like we wanted really, really good trophies, which we did get. Guess what, guys? They're not cheap. I can't claim those back.
So we had you got one there. So you got 2 dice trays.
Yeah.
So one to roll your dice into, and the other tray to
keep all your bits and bobs about.
Because everyone got the
combat gauges.
The combat gauge, which has your 2, your 3, your 1, your ½ inch, your 9 inch, your 6 inches. You've got one of them, and the proper size objective markers.
And 32 dice.
Yeah, and they're not cheap.
And all that goes in one of them, and then obviously in the other one you can roll your dice into. And again, it's all about safety.
Yeah.
So, this first event ran at a massive loss.
Yeah.
Okay, at the price we ran it at. So please expect prices. Now you go to a start to that. So obviously there will be events in the future that do it on the cheap. They'll just go, it'll be fine.
But they might do it on the cheap, but don't expect price support.
Yeah, or don't expect it to be safe. So they are things that you need to consider.
Yeah.
Now, what's next?
I'd say morning of the event, when people arrived, what were they greeted by?
So they're greeted by my happy smiley face and your happy smiley face. Were you happy on the day?
I was pretty happy.
Yeah.
I think I was tired because I hadn't had my morning ritual of a can of Monster.
Yeah.
But once we got inside
and had your Monster, you were okay.
Had my Monster, I was good.
Yeah, but we basically gave a full briefing. So again, we allowed 30 minutes for that briefing to happen. Not just, all right, guys, go find your tables. No, I had to brief everybody about safety, how we would enter everybody into the building 2 by 2 to make sure that people did not cross paths. When you're up there, we filled in the back of the hall first, and then we filled out the middle of the hall so that, again, people stopped crossing over. I taught everybody about the one-way system through the store, again, so because we don't want people crossing over. You do not want that. Okay, so all these things had to be thought about.
At no point was there a choke point.
No.
Where people were going past each other, or one person had to stand aside whilst another person squeezed up against them. Yeah. None of that.
Yeah. So there was always at least a 1 meter space. Yeah. Now, the other thing was I had to house rule some terrain bits.
Yes.
So I had to house rule a few different interactions, and my thought process was if it was in 8th edition, it would carry on into 9th. So for example, Smite cannot be cast multiple times by the same caster.
Yeah.
Okay? That felt like a backward step for us. So it was in 8th edition explicitly that a caster could only cast Smite once. Yep. So that's what we rolled out into this edition. Okay, it doesn't specify in the rules that we were aware of. It was a question and I ruled it on that way. Drop pods, can they use Desperate Breakout? It felt janky to me, so I said no. Can a Demon Prince monster block another Demon Prince monster if they're within 3 inches of each other? No. For Lookout Sir, doesn't count. So we had to do a few of those things. Line of sight worked very differently as well. Most of our terrain at the bottom level typically does block line of sight in terms of how it's built. So we just said for the tournament, to keep it easy, to keep it all the same, the bottom level of the ruin will block line of sight. Because if there's a little hole or something like that, or a small gap.
Depending on the person building it, and how they've built a kit, you might have one building where all the windows are closed and one building where they're all open. Yeah. Aesthetically, looks really, really good.
Yeah.
But in terms of equality on the table.
Yeah. And why is that important? And the reason for that is, let's say Joe starts on that side of the table and I'm here. I get my army out here, he gets his army out there. We do the roll-off and Joe's looking at it like, ooh, there's a few more open windows on my side. You've got all the closed ones. Let's swap over. Yeah. Again, what does that cause? 2 people to pick up all their armies and swap over the tables. Yeah. It was not safe.
No.
So these are things that we had to put in place to make a safe event. And we had to make a... like a compromise to make sure this actually happened. So again, everything was fair and balanced. We used the obscuring word on all of our ruins, and we drew line of sight from the model. A lot of people said it would be base. Again, GW, they've ruled it in some places that on obstacles in dense terrain you measure from the base, but from line of sight in terms of obscuring it's to the model. Now, why have they done that? And I was thinking, why have they done that? And for me, I've kind of realised that if you have a model on a level and it's got a slight lip on it,
you won't be able to shoot.
You would never be able to see the base.
No.
Okay, so that needs a bit of a clean up, because at the moment you can technically, we used 8th edition line of sight rules, and this is how we obviously were all reading through the rules, and we've got some great players And, you know, people that review the game and things, like the guys at Goonhammer, we went through it together and we, you know, thrashed out what is the fairest thing to do. So we used 8th edition line of sights. You could measure from a Tau gun, for example, because that is part of the model.
And then there was the difference between a building with a flat base and the one with like a curved base where you could go into it.
Mm-hmm.
There was that rule distinction, and when does it class as in it? Yeah.
So what we said was, if it has a base, so all of our ruins had a base on it, that would give you area cover, light cover, okay? However, the base doesn't obscure line of sight, only the actual physical walls obscure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if there's side of a building and then a bit of pavement outside, you go from the wall, not from where it sticks out, because it's sticking out and there's no wall there, you can see it. And you and your opponent could then have that argument. Well, if I stand here, I can see you over the lip, and if I stand here, I can't see you, but there is still a lip kind of thing. You can have a lot of arguments at the table.
Yeah, so we just cleaned it up. The walls obscure, and if you're on the line of sight, they don't. Yeah. Now, the other thing as well is you could then declare your intent. So if you're a big riptide that is over... who would normally you would be able to see over, you could say to your opponent, I'm staying behind the cover, so I'm getting obscured. Okay, or if I'm going to be in the cover, the riptide can now shoot over it, and you can be shot into it. Okay, so the riptide there. Now infantry, it didn't really make much difference because pretty much, as we said, the bottom level blocks line of sight anyway. So actually, they could be in it up against the wall, and they're fine. Okay.
What else was the other one? So we did the rules clarifications.
Yep.
And then
we got everybody into the building.
Yep.
We went through the missions as well. Yep. So with every day one we did hold 1, hold 2, hold more. Yep. And on day 2 we did hold 2, hold 3, hold more. Yep. Again, so that people weren't confused, like, oh, it's that mission that caught me out. Yeah. It was very sequential.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it helps that easing in as well. So game 1, game 2, you got the basics, you can learn it. Day 3, that's when it picks up. Kind of thing. That's when it gets real, as it were. So everyone came in, we paired them up. Table 1, table 2 came in, did that. Then we had
a quick mission briefing as well. I obviously had to do the fire drills, you know, like what would happen in the result of a fire, where we'd meet, all those things, the exit points.
Then we had some specific rules on if you wanted to get a drink or go to the toilet.
Yeah. All the little T's and C's, which again aren't normally covered at events, which should be. Guys, we want to run professional events. I've had the luxury, I suppose, to go to a lot of very professional fitness and bodybuilding events where these things are the standard. When I used to run my health retreats in Marbella, where I'm getting people to climb over what is a 20-foot cargo net in swing, guess what? Health and safety is absolutely paramount, and instructions and clarity of communication is really important. And it actually gives everybody the ability to play fair. Because there is no breakdown in communication.
No, and we enforced what seems like maybe over the top, but important. If you wanted to go get a drink or go to the toilet, you still have to go down one set of stairs, go to the loo, buy a drink, go back outside, come up the other set of stairs. So you don't have that people crossing over. And we tried to reduce the amount of people that were going at one time, so there wasn't a rush, so you didn't have crowding downstairs. Stuff like that. What was the next one? So we
covered terrain. Let's talk about some of the things that we felt in regards to the secondaries. Now, myself and Jack recorded a podcast. It will be up. It will be live tomorrow, very, very early if you're in the UK. So 7 o'clock or whatever. It will be ready to go. In fact, we'll publish it tonight, so it goes out. So you guys have got it. Be ready for tomorrow, especially if you're in the US. But basically, every single Friday, the competitive 40K podcast will be now live. We're in season 2. It's 9th edition. We talked about my list in particular, the Ultramarines list I decided to take. We spoke about how to beat Custodes. And we then also covered our top 10 things that we learned about 9th edition. Okay, so that is a fantastic podcast. Listen to that. We give you my Ultramarines list with the stratagems and things like that. And you can just download that for free.
It's stuff that become aware of having played it that you might not foresee before you go into the first game, and stop you from running amok, as it were. learning from our experience.
So, Joe, what was your... I'm going to ask you this. Be completely honest. When you first saw how first turn works and how deployment works, when you read it, first of all, from the new book, how did you feel about it?
I was like, not this again.
Okay. Why did you feel like... So it was you go, I go, you go, I go, you go, I go in the new one, whereas we were very used to playing, I do my whole army, you do your whole army, and if you're going second, you get to roll the map type to your advantage. So what was your feelings?
I was a little bit annoyed, because obviously we've come from the ITC, and it's just, you roll off, I go first, bam, put my army down. I know how my army's going to go down, because I've been putting my army down in the same way. I've practiced and done this the whole time.
And that's very quick for timing. You literally go, my turn, bang, so I'm doing all my things, I've deployed, bang, time over to you.
And when you're alternating deployment, it can take a lot longer, and some opponents are different to others, but you'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna smash it, because some people will be like, okay, I already know how I'm doing it, bosh, bosh, bosh. But some people are like, ooh, you've put it there, and there's like this weird, like, I'll have 2-minute think kind of thing. So sometimes the deployment can take longer than half the game.
And also, when somebody knows the time is on them to deploy, guess what? They deploy quick. And also, with the whole deployment, you could make mistakes and then just jiggle it all about and go, cool, I'm done. Whereas in this edition now, you have to think very carefully. Where do I put my units? Do I make a circle with them so I can drop a character down? You need to think ahead, okay? So your first drop, for example, after you've put everything into strategic reserves, you then need to start to think about the structure and the plan of your deployment. And that's something we're going to help you on with our Vanguard Tactics Plus channel, which is coming very soon. It should be out, not this weekend, the following weekend, with our first drop of videos on there. But we're going to show you how we deploy our armies and what we're thinking at that time. That's coming very soon. We had a slight delay because of this event and all the restrictions that were in place. And unfortunately, VT Plus had to get postponed by a couple of weeks. But as of next weekend, that should be live. Now, how do you feel about deployment now?
I really like it.
Why?
Because you've got units that you know they're going in the same place every time. But it becomes a little game in itself. It becomes a mind game, basically, with your opponent. Because how my units and my venoms, my incubi work, and how infiltrating units work. I want my opponent to place down specific units so I can counter them, knowing to give me an advantage turn one. So for instance, I have incubi and venoms. I know they can disembark 10 inches and get a charge on something. A lot of people use infiltrators to take objectives in the mid-table. So if I go first and those are on there, brilliant, disembark 10, I'm already on them, charge them, rack them, take the objectives off them. Or they're setting them slightly further back from objectives, but I know they're still going to move them on. But using my Talos, going down first, everyone measures from them first. They're like, they move 8, charge 12. I'm going to stay 20 inches away from you, put them here, and then I'm cool. This goes down here, I'm 9 inches away from you. It actually works in advantage, I'd say.
So it works in advantage to the players that are skilled in deployment. So it really has brought back that skill and also the importance of which models you drop first, okay? So don't always put down your worst units first. Sometimes put your big hitters down because you know, okay, they're safe. And actually, I've got them blocked by line of sight. Otherwise, a lot of people put their troops down and they're left at the end of it and they're like, oh, but my big unit, it can't fit now and it's going to get shot off the table. Well, you haven't practiced your deployment.
You use that big scary unit as a way to control your opponent's placement of things. So for instance, I run 9 Talos. Everyone is scared of 9 Talos. First units, bam, because I know that is going to completely determine where everything else goes.
And it really brings back some nice elements with redeploy that Ultramarines have, Harlequins have, Eldar have. That's fantastic. You know, Orcs can do it, Alpha Legion can do it. Those redeployment shenanigans are brilliant. Okay, so it really, you know, one of the things that I've learned from Ninth, which I would definitely encourage you to do, is think about units that can either forward move or infiltrate. Okay, so for example, in my sisters list, I've been telling you I need to put the units in that can forward move. Before, in 8th edition, I don't care about them. But what I want now is units that are infantry based, that can pre-move and grab objectives early on to force you to come and clear me off it. Because whilst you're clearing me off my awful troops that I don't really care too much about, it's actually a level of protection so that my harder hitting units can move into place. All right? So that's one thing that I would definitely consider is how are you going to score the primary mission? So that sort of brings us on to our next point. So deployment, I love it. I wasn't a fan at the beginning because change is hard for everyone.
It's that feel badsies almost from the beginning of 8th. And also, like I said, the redeploy stratagems, completely pointless at the end of 8th. No one was ever using them. Maybe once in a blue moon. Now they're a valid tactic to control the flow of the game before it's even started.
I think it's great, and I really do enjoy it. Like I must admit, the missions again, it's one of those things that I'll be honest with you, it's took me time to adapt to it. It really has, but I loved the games at the weekend. I had just as much fun as I've had in all of my 8th edition events. And I was half judging, half trying to play, half trying to TO. So I was trying to do so many different things and wear so many different hats. Obviously, just the VT hat is just the one I'm ever going to wear. But you know what I mean. So I really, really enjoyed it. So in terms of the primary, we actually had a few messages to say, are you giving people 100 points for, if people concede or if you table somebody? And the answer is no, we did not do that. We let people play out all of their turns. And I was actually really fortunate. Mike Brandt, who's been helping GW, is been an absolute cornerstone to some of the, giving me some great information in the lead up to running this event. He knew how important it was. And I was giving him feedback on the day, how things were going. And, honestly, Mike, I want to say thank you very much if you have watched this, because some of the feedback you have given me, just some clarifications has really, really helped. So
it teaches people to be more controlled over what secondaries they take, but also how they control the flow of the game. If you get greedy, you table your opponent turn 2, and you took kill more, you're not getting those kill more points for the rest of the game. Because yes, you've killed everyone, but you should have been saving small little piddly units that you can clear off later. Because that's the point of those secondaries.
So let's talk about the primary mission, Joe, for the start. So we've got the primary mission, hold one, hold more. Okay. What sort of units would you be using to hold and hold more? How many objectives are you trying to hold? Because typically there's anywhere between 5 and 6.
So day one, I want to make sure my army holds 2 objectives every turn.
Okay, why is that?
Because I know I'm consistently scoring 10 points a turn.
Now, remember, you score the primary guys in your next command phase. So it's no good if Joe's just put 2 units on an objective.
No.
Because I can just clear Joe off one of those, and now when it gets to his turn, he's only holding 1. So he's only going to get the 5 points. How many points do you need to score in a game on the primary? If you want to be in it to win it, how many do you think you need to score?
All of them. So 45 to 40, 45?
I would say 35 as a minimum. So if you think about that, you can only score turn 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you've got 4 turns of scoring. So if you can score 10 points in 4 of those, then you're going to get 40 points and you're in it to win it. Okay? Any less than that, then you're never going to, in my opinion, against a good player, change the deficit or the difference in the secondaries. Okay? Because the secondaries are harder to score. The primary is much easier, and you should have a painted army to get those basic 10. But you need to be getting the 40 points. And if you score really well in turns 1, 2, and 3, if you get the hold, and hold more for 3 turns, you're going to max that out. And then you can leave all your objectives turn 4 and 5 because you've already maxed out the primary. You don't need to leave those troops back.
No.
Okay. So what sort of units using?
So backline. I've got an Archon. He's simply in there for Vect.
Okay.
To keep him alive, and he gets supported by a unit of Cabalite warriors. Because they're troops. If someone deep strikes in behind me with an elite unit, heavy support unit, they try and take it off me. I've got an OBSEC unit to hold them.
So you've got an OBSEC unit there, then with a character within 3.
Yeah.
So they can't kill the character until they've gone through the unit. And in order to do that, you typically have to put a fair amount of power in, don't you?
Yeah, so the characters, he's the one that's doing all the actions.
Yeah.
He's the one raising the flag. He's the stuff that's activating stuff. The troops are there because of the new character rule. Can't be shot at. He can't be killed until those Cabalites are gone.
Yeah.
And obviously there's stratagems to lightning faster, make them minus to hit, stuff like that. So that's my backline stuff.
So he's holding your objective and the unit's raising your banners and doing the actions. Because some secondaries characters can do, some characters can't. Okay, and others infantry can do and others units can do. So make sure you're very clued up on the wording. And again, me and Jack go into this in a little bit more detail tomorrow.
And then mid-board, Talos.
Talos, okay.
Talos, just sit in the middle, because you've got, by doing actions, some units can do actions that aren't infantry, some that can, some vehicles can do it. So having some of the secondaries are literally just be in the middle of the table. You get points by holding the centre.
And some of the secondaries are in the middle of the table.
Yeah, so having Talos with character support, they can sit in the middle. If the character's doing actions, they're safe because the Talos are
And
there.
guys, this could be any bully unit.
Yeah.
Any unit that's tough, durable, hits hard in combat.
Yeah.
So I was using aggressors for that same role.
Yeah.
It could be Custode Terminators. It could be the Custode Bikes. It could be
a unit of Carnifexes.
Yeah.
if you're
that's
mad.
a tangent.
Yeah.
It could be Orc Meganobs.
Yeah.
Okay. It could be a big block of Terminators. It could be Paladins. You know, whatever it might be. Your Bullgrin, another fantastic unit. Okay.
So like heavy hitting, but also tough, durable infantry units that like primarily can set to defend. So if you're in cover and that objective's on cover, you can be doing an action, because fighting in combat doesn't stop you from doing your action. But if you're in cover, you can set to defend, get +1 to hit in combat. Which is really, really
and when you're
useful.
using things like Power Fist, that normally -1 to hit, that's great because you're getting that +1.
Yeah.
Or if you're good in Overwatch, like Ultramarines are, you can Overwatch on 5s.
Yeah.
So there's different elements there, and really maximising the use of terrain, helping that be that third dimension, and really maximising those keywords. The reason why we just used ruins in this event is because, look, it was the first edition of 9th. We will be adding area cover and dense cover in the future, but actually we didn't need to, because the ruins alone provided just enough enjoyment, just enough in keywords, and visually it was stunning. So actually, we thought, let's nail ruins, let's get people, and it was only by day 2, game 4, 5 and 6, I was actually like, oh wow, I can actually get the heavy cover, I can set to defend, so I get the +1 with these. You know, I had the Custode game against Adam, completely forgot I could even do that. So again, even me here, who's refereeing the event, I was still learning as I was going.
Yeah. And then for the forward units, for holding objectives, I've got units of Incubi in Talos, and maybe putting small units of troops in Deep Strike or Outflank, because Incubi are strong enough to charge in, kill a bunch of people holding the objective.
Yeah, and Overwatch isn't such a thing anymore.
Yeah, because you can go through the walls. No one's going to Overwatch a little 5-man unit when there's a massive bully unit about to go into combat somewhere else.
Yeah, or a lot of people, if they don't have the rerolls in those areas, and normally where you're attacking from, there's not the characters there for the full rerolls, because normally a full reroll is in the middle of the table with these Incubi or whatever. You know, you can take out the word Incubi and insert anything. It could be Vanguard veterans, it could be Sanguinary Guard if you're a Blood Angel player, it could be Outriders, it could be, you name it, Raptors, whatever. Okay, so one of the things that what this also allows you to do is play the secondaries really well. So do you want to let's go through some of the secondaries that your hot picks were.
So
let's go to the front of the book. So just go through, Joe, some of your hot picks.
I think one of my hot pick, and I think this is very popular for everyone.
So let's go through Battlefield Supremacy first, Joe. Okay, so on Battlefield Supremacy, and
first one.
We will do another one all about secondaries. But you've got Engage on all fronts, Line Breaker, and Domination. Are you picking from this category at least once normally?
Yes. If I could take all 3.
You'd be a happy man.
I would. Okay. I would be. So I think, and you're going to see all very fast-moving mobile armies are going to be selecting from here. This is every single game I took engage on all fronts.
Okay, so engage on all fronts. If you've got 3 units in the deployment quarters, not deployment quarters, but
one
quarters,
of 3
board quarters. So 1 unit in each quarter. If you're in 3 of them, you get 2 points a turn, and that is that is actually very achievable if you are even just a Marine player. Okay, because Marines, like I was taking Ultramarines, engage on all fronts. I'm not going to be that aggressive in that, like greedy to get all 4, because then actually I could overexpose myself, not in like a sort of physical way, by the way, on the tabletop. I don't want to put myself in that position, so I'm just going to go, cool, I can get my infiltrators like I did in most of my games. They get me at turn 1, and then my aggressors are moving up and getting me that turn 2, or my inceptors are coming down, dropping a unit in here or there, using strategic reserves correctly to make sure that quarter are mine.
And you can build that secondary into your list. Like you can have unit selections like, I got 50 points left over. Do I have like a single mod or a small unit that I know I can outflank, deep strike in? That's that every turn. I can send them.
You could just, if you're an Imperium playing, just stick in the Colexus Assassin. It can deep strike in, and you can only hit on 6s. And you can just sit in the corner and go, cool, da-ding, 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 da-ding.
Because it doesn't have to be a specific, any unit can score that. And for Eldar, Planes can do it.
Planes do it? Just
any unit can do it. There's no exemption.
Okay.
So you could send out planes turn 1, grab each corner, and then just leave. The turn 2. Then follow up with something else, and the planes come on next turn, take over the place. So it's all all really good for them. Line breaker.
So sorry, just quickly on that as well. Things like Scions in a guard list, you probably haven't thought about taking Scions, but because they can deep strike for free, a little 5-man unit of Scions can just deep strike, and because it's scored at the end of the turn, they just deep strike in turn 2, gets you that one. Do it again, turn 3. So if I was running a guard army, I might take some scout sentinels that can forward move. So they're getting me that engage on all fronts turn 1. Then Scions come down turn 2. And they come down turn 3.
And this doesn't stop holding objectives. And you can still do this doing actions as well, so you can double, triple up the scoring.
It's just their position on the table.
Then you've got line breaker. Score 4 points end of your turn if 2 or more units from your army are wholly within your opponent's deployment zone.
Now this is one that I want.
Excluding aircraft. This one.
So you can't use aircraft for this one, but I want you to open your ears about this one. Okay. In the ITC, I never took it. Unless I was playing my Blood Angels and I knew I was going first. Okay? But basically, line breaker now is much easier to achieve with the use of strategic reserves and deep striking durable units. It's much harder to zone out the table now because you don't have 10-man units that can conga line, that can just screen out the entire board. In some of my matchups, which you'll hear about tomorrow, I would literally bring down my 3 units of Inceptors, put them in the corner of a table, and they're going to max me that secondary, okay? And them being able to do that is great. Like, them banking me 15 points is a fantastic use of points there.
And it's not an action, doesn't stop you from doing anything, and you score at the end of your turn, so it doesn't have to be a hyper resilient unit either. Just be cheap and cheerful, or one that you're going to put there anyway. So you want to take out that tank of the battle board.
The super durable ones, like I'm using with the Inceptors, at 3 wounds each, toughness 5, and 3 units, I've got redundancy built in there. So if you want to stop me from getting it, because I'm actually banking on just those 3 units getting me that all, for, they need to be there for at least 3 turns. So they have to be fairly durable, but you have to commit a lot to kill them. And if you're committing a lot there, I can win on the primary. You're giving up the primary for me to then take the board. So it puts you in a position where you've got to think really hard about how you deal with that problem.
Some armies which live in the centre of the board or in your side of the board, so something like a knight army that's going to be pushing, they're going to have to go back to deal with those units.
They don't want to do that.
They don't want to do that because they want to be pushing on you, which means that if they want to stop you from scoring points, they have to use their own assets to deal with it, which then takes pressure off of you in the long run.
And you always want good assets, guys.
You told me no jokes before this one.
No
domination.
Domination.
Score 3 points if you control more than half the total number of objective markers on the battlefield at the end of the turn. So if you've got
tough one. This one.
Well, it's all right if you're running, I imagine, an OBSEC heavy kind of troop army, because it's something you have to be doing anyway for the primary. You have to be holding those objectives anyway. If you want to be...
Is it end turn?
At the end of your turn.
So here's where it's a problem.
Mm.
It's a problem if you go second.
Yeah.
Because the player that goes first, so first turn is very important because you have to push your opponent off the objective.
Yeah.
And then you have to hold it, okay, if you're going second. If you're going first, you can just move on to there. But now, what you can actually do is you can move on to them if you're going first, spread your unit out far enough so that in order for them to actually contest the unit, they have to stay over engagement range away from you, so they can't move on to the objective.
So you have to come and fight you.
So they have to fight you off it, because they can't move, and if they don't have enough firepower, they can't shoot you off it, okay?
Yeah.
So therefore, they have to literally fight you off it, and they need OBSEC units to do that. Because typically with infiltrators or rangers or anything that can forward deploy, forward move, whatever, it's normally got a troop battlefield role.
Yeah.
Okay, so infiltrating troops are super good in this edition. Now, what that does mean for domination, if you're going second and you pick your secondaries before you know if you're going first or second, plus it means if you tell me you're going for domination, it's easy for me to try to deny you that. You're already telling me this is what I want to do. So this is one of the problems with Linebreaker and Domination, is that I played Adam, a fantastic custodian player, and he said he was going for Linebreaker. Okay, I was like, happy days. So what did I do my whole game? I was just like, right, my game plan here to win this game is to zone out my backfield. That's all I needed to do. And I just needed to fight in the middle against the Custodes in order to stop him getting those 15 points.
Yeah.
And if I do that, I win the game. Because I'll equal him on the primary, because I'll be on the boards for long enough. And ultimately, that's how I won that game, was because he went Linebreaker and I stopped him from doing it. Because I zoned out. The only way you can get there is his deep strikers.
Yeah.
Okay? And his big unit of bikes, well, that's only one unit. So he needs 2 units to get there.
Yeah.
So that you've got to be very, very careful with some of the secondaries you pick, and you've got to have redundancy in there, and you need to think ahead about, can my opponent, by going for this secondary, am I telling my opponent too much in how I'm going to play? One of the other custodian players against me took domination, and guess where one of them was? In the middle.
Yeah.
And where do my army want to be? In the middle.
It just sets up camp there.
So I'm just like, cool, push into the middle. I stopped him getting domination all game. Okay, so you need to make sure, whereas like engage in all fronts, well, you can't really stop that.
No.
So I think engage in all fronts, especially if you're newer to the game, is a really good pick for you.
Yeah, because you could deep strike in on engage in all front. So I've done this before. Engage in front, and then just try and lock up multiple units in combat.
Yeah.
So one can still run away.
Yeah.
But you're still in combat. You've got resilient units, and they're just stuck there.
So we're going to stop going through the secondaries now. We've already been an hour, because I actually think this would be a fantastic podcast episode for us to go through, because I actually think the guys are getting a lot of good value here. And if you are, please give this video a like. And if you would like us to do a full video breakdown on our top picks of secondaries, put it in the comments now that you want that. Just put, we want secondaries, okay? And then we'll know that if there's enough popularity for that video, me and Joe will sit down, we'll record a full video on all about our go-to picking secondaries if you're getting into the game. Should we go through some of the questions? Because we've been nearly an hour.
It's been an hour and we haven't responded to anyone yet.
I know, we've just been chatting away. The chat is fantastic, and this is actually our most popular video ever. I think we had like over 180 live viewers all at once.
I did one from someone saying that I'm a beautiful man, and thank you. I think that was Simon Shepherd-Jones, and he'd be correct.
Okay, he said you're a very handsome man.
I am single now, Simon, so you play your cards right.
You're in, Simon. Yeah. You're in. A lot of people saying hello.
Simon Shepherd, Joe, you're so bloody handsome.
Okay, so there we go, guys. It's all about Joe being handsome, apparently.
Yeah. I've seen a couple comments from David Bannister.
Yeah. He was actually a participant.
He was a participant. I played David.
Yeah.
Incredible opponent.
He's put great event,
army.
well run, very safe, and everyone understood their responsibilities. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thomas has said, I live in America. What about my freedoms? I'm not really sure what that means.
Is your freedoms to play 40k?
Or the freedom to wear a mask. Because I tell you what, guys. I'm just as free as I am now as I was. I'm still just as free.
Yeah. And
my freedom has not been taken away. I'm still free.
And the people that run it have the freedom to say, put a mask on.
And also the freedom to say, get out.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because
if you can wear a face mask, do it at an event.
Yeah,
okay?
Because you may have been tested that morning.
You might have already had COVID.
Yeah.
And you may think you're immune. Okay?
Yeah.
But you're doing it for everybody else to feel safe. Okay?
Yeah, you could be tested that morning, be completely free of it.
Yeah.
Someone else could be there, and they could have it.
Yeah.
And you could get it because you didn't want to wear a mask.
Yeah. For example, here, Joe is actually in my bubble.
Yeah.
He's been to my house. He lives by himself. So Joe is in my household bubble.
Doesn't escape me.
No. But we still stay a metre apart and we normally talk to the camera. Again, we want to be safe as much as possible. Every time me and Joe play and we have to get close on the tabletop, guess what? Masks are on, okay? They are to hand. If we have to work closely with one another, masks go on. If we're both looking over the laptop and I'm teaching Joe how to edit or showing him about the airbrush or something, masks are on, okay? When we're stood a metre apart, because we are in the same bubble and we're talking this way, again, it's all about risk management, and that's one thing you have to know, okay? So anyway...
If it's your freedom to play 40k, Brian's going to be running some events.
Well, yeah, he has been, so which is fantastic.
Yeah. Also, as that David Bannister says, mask wearing was not something that was nice but necessary. Did not distract from the fun. Yeah, and also a lot of people said they were like, "Oh, I was uncomfortable for the first 20 minutes."
Yeah, and then you forget about it.
You completely forget about it.
And it is a bit warmer.
Oh, my light's turned off.
It is a bit warmer in the face mask, but you could go outside, and like some of the games finished in an hour. Yeah. In an hour and a half, so they could go and chill out in the sunshine for 2 hours.
Yeah, we had some nice tables set out where you could go and not wear a mask.
Yeah, because they were outside.
Yeah, and obviously you're allowed to drink inside. But if you're drinking, pull your mask down, have a swig, mask back on. But we weren't allowing food, but food was allowed outside. Yeah. And you can just chill, have a breather. Or, say if you want to go to the loo halfway through your game, go down all the way through, go to the loo, come out, pull your mask off for a couple of seconds, just kind of freshen up your face a bit, mask back on. But remember, it's not all about you. No. It's all about everybody. ELE. Everybody love everybody. Yeah, but not closely. Okay, you can love everybody from a distance, alright? Yeah. Gareth Chambers, who actually came to the event as well, your event was run very smoothly and everyone had fun. The prize support was amazing too. Yeah, we wanted prize support to be really decent. We wanted people to remember our event and I think they really did. What have we got here? Meanest Green, I would have paid extra money for more gaming space before COVID. Nice to know tournaments may not be packed just to max out players and profits. Absolutely. And we are making sure that, like, future events, we're going to check them out, make sure that there is enough space. Because if there isn't, we'll just be like, thank you, but no thank you. We're going to find somewhere bigger. Yeah. Or it'll just be a case of be less people. Yeah, and we will be also having a VT sanctioned venues. So if we have worked with them in the past and they've gone through all the risk assessments, they've worked with the local council to make their gaming space safe, then they can get this mark of standard. It'd be like Wargaming Checker Trader, you know? Or Michelin star restaurants. Yeah. It's a standard that has been met at that point. Someone's put here, I think GW's measure to base is a fairer rule than I can see the tip of this guy's gun. You can put sense into the fact that lips may obscure bases and just say beyond reasonable doubt I can see that.
Again, they need to remember, GW need to make it the clearest rule they can. As soon as they put some sort of element of, well, exclude a lip here or whatever, then it becomes really grey and people can try and bend that to their advantage. So if they've written it in a way that it is clear, yes, you could probably shoot the tip of a sword because it is the model. It's then hard to say, like, do you just shoot the body and their head and the arms and not weapons? I don't know. Like, I'm not, luckily, thankfully, I'm not a rules writer.
But at the end of the day, that's something that you can say at the table with your opponent. You can say, like, my entire army has got back banners on Space Marines.
Yeah.
I'll be shooting those.
Yeah.
Like, that's not attached to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shoot from it.
Yeah.
You can't shoot me. At the end of the day, if you say, if I can shoot you, you can shoot me.
Yeah.
And that's what we're happy with.
And I think if you had a whole army where all your guys had back banners on, and if you were to email me as a TO and say, hey Steve, I want to bring this beautifully painted army that I've done, everyone's got a banner, but I'd really appreciate if people couldn't just snipe my banners and kill me, are you okay to say that the banners don't count? I'll be like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. You'd have my permission to say, you cannot draw line of sight to the banners, all right? Because I think that's a bit silly. Or if you've done some crazy conversions and, you know, on your infantry models, and they are much, much higher than they should be, which is actually a disadvantage to you because you don't want to be shot. Because again, if you want to shoot them, then you wouldn't be able to poke your head over the terrain feature, because that doesn't work both ways. It's, again, you can't have everything your own way. So if you want larger bases, that's fine. But again, it's just about, and I think everyone at the event had that same level of like, let's create a fair event, and we really did that.
Hashtag no jank is the word.
We didn't have any issues with sportsmanship whatsoever. Everybody just only had extremely pleasant things to say about each other. I didn't have to stop any arguments, anything like that. No. It was fantastic. Yeah, it really was.
Like, there's like, I run Dukari, and my things have got big old fins on the back, and it's on a flying stand. So by the rules, it's like, I can shoot you from my hull anywhere. Yeah. But if you run by the rules of basis, then you can't see my base, but I can shoot you. Yeah. So it's one of those. Most people would be like, I'm not going to shoot your fins because that'd be mad, and I'd be like, cool. I'm not going to poke 2 millimeters of the prow of my boat out and shoot you from that. Yeah. It's tit for tat. You know, you got to make sure that you're both happy and you're both agreed, because you don't want feel badsies from the word go.
Yeah. So John said, Hi Team Vanguard. I know you don't want to reveal your Quins list, but I've just spent 1,000 on new Quins army. Can you please give me one or couple list building tips? Well, we're actually releasing a module that's going to be on the Academy. It will be a paid for module, all about how to build a list. Yeah. We're going to go through how to read a codex properly. So we're not going to be like, guys, Harlequins, do this is the codex. We're not going to read it to you. We're going to teach you the skills to think critically, to analyze, to review, to teach you everything you need to know in order to write and construct your own lists that play the primary mission well, score on the secondaries to help you analyze your hard matchups, understand where your army is weak, understand which units are efficient, which units will be your MVPs, when you need to use them, when you need to hide them, what relics, warlord traits, stratagems, empowers you need to look out for to help either accentuate what your army does or plug gaps where it's weaker, and also what questions you need to ask your opponent because you know what is going to tear your army apart. That will be a single standalone module that you can purchase going forward, all right? And it's a bit of an intro as to what you actually are going to get on the Academy when you sign up for that as well. And that, in the future, if you choose to do that.
That's a lot more valuable information than us going,
here's my Harlequins list.
Yeah, because
you won't run the Harlequins list like I run it. No. And I don't mean that in some sort of arrogant way. It's just I've built it because I know how I want everything to work with one another. Yeah. Okay, it's not obvious. Same with my Ultramarines. You'll listen tomorrow how it all works when the podcast comes out. And like I played against Alex Petford, and he was like, I'm not even sure what Ultramarines do because he never see them. And when I started to unravel all the combos, all the buffs and the abilities, he was like, wow, that's really effective.
Yeah.
But on paper, you just think, oh, it's just an Ultramarines list Steve's put together. It's not. There's a lot of thought process there.
And it comes down to play style as well. Yeah. You might look at something and be like, that's not how I want to run. You don't want to become blinkered either. Yeah. Because that's how everyone ends up playing the same thing. Mm-hmm. You want variety.
Yep, absolutely. Vlog Sense said, where can we get the tickets for September? As a new player, having a friendly event I feel confident in running well is kindly super good. So if you want an event for our secret tournament, that's going to be happening in September, then all the announcements are going to be over on the Vanguard Tactics Facebook page and through our email list. So when you sign up for, let's say, our Learn to Play course, which is completely for free, we've got a whole module, like 3 or 4 modules, completely for free on how to learn how to play 9th edition. If you sign up for that, just make sure you tick the button to say turn on marketing and emails, okay? I know normally, I turn them all off normally, but if you actually want, we give away loads of, tips and hints through that blog.
It's not a case of we're just going to, we don't, you. Most people are scared to do it because they're like, you're going to sell all my information to some dodgy company. We don't do that. If we email you, it's because we got good, valuable information to give
you probably want, Whether it's, here's an event that's coming up. I emailed everyone today about this live to say, hey guys, I'm going live because this is on a different day to normal, okay? And I'm going to continue to use that email list to, give you guys updates on what's happening here at Vanguard Tactics, whether it's, a video's just dropped, a podcast, we want your questions, whatever it might be, okay? Yeah. So should we wrap that up? One last question.
Was there any more about how beautiful I am?
Ooh. I think everyone's thinking it, but too scared to say it. But Joe, I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
I think you're a beautiful man. Okay.
I won't spend all my day with my top off like you do, but it's fine.
It's all right. Don't worry about
it. But has the giveaway winner been announced yet?
No. August, end of. Right. Okay. So still plenty more time to. And by the way, if you enjoyed that video, let us know. Yeah. Loads of people just said they wanted to win, but nobody actually commented even if they liked watching the video. So if you enjoyed it, let us know.
So up your odds. Get all your family to watch the video. Get them to learn to play 40k. Get them to answer it. Up your odds. And in response, they might really enjoy. And learn to play.
And if you watch the videos that is for free on that Learn to Play course, and you take the little quiz at the end, you 10 times your chance of winning. So I enter your name in 10 times rather than just once. Yeah.
And they're not like random questions like, what is a bullet? They're thinkers.
Yeah. So we've got here, JW said also about that paid for Academy module, I assume you have to be part of the program for that, right? No, so it's going to be a standalone module. Yeah. So if you just want that one module, you can buy it.
Yeah. Okay? So if you literally just got into the hobby, and you're not sure how you're feeling about coming into the academy,
or writing a list, for example,
you can just pick this one up, have a look at it, learn, get to grips, and it will get you on the road. Yeah. Going forward.
And the thing is, you can buy a list. I've done list tailoring for people, like as a service to say, right, what models have you got, etc. And I'll charge you. I think I was charging like $60 or something like that for it. But actually, you get that one list and that's it. Yeah. We're going to teach you the skills so you can constantly update your list.
It's like a teach a man to fish kind of thing.
Rather than just catching one. So that's what we're going for with that. But the other reason why we're doing it is because I want to show you how good our academy content is, because I want you to become a student. Yeah. I'm going to say that right now. I'm going to be transparent. We've got 160 students on there, on the academy at the moment. There are daily lessons. All of our new lists will be up in the list library. Yeah. All of the modules, there's about 10 modules on there already. They're all going to be redone this year. Yep. But there's loads that are around game theory, game strategy, not even necessarily to do with 8th, but I want to update it all.
And you get access to our online community. Yeah. Where it's all about, it's all people that want to be there. It's all like-minded. Everyone's helping each other. Everyone's talking to each other, encouraging. Yeah. And if you've got a question, you can just put it out there, unlike like a random Facebook group where you could put a question out and then you're surrounded by trolls, or they'll be like, your idea is stupid, don't do that. Well, actually, you could have a very valid question, but the people that are reading it on the same page. On the same page.
And also, we go live every week. So we actually went live at 4 o'clock today for another hour, and we help everybody with their list. So we've got a student, let's say Ian James. Yeah. He's been with us from day one. He's working on his Black Templars list. Again, we deconstruct what's working well in his list, what we would change. He comes back to us, he revises it, and it's a constant evolution. Okay, so anyway, that's that. But podcast out tomorrow. Learn to Play course. Link is in the description below, so check that out. If you want to enter the course, again, just if you want to enter in the price, link is below for that one. The new Vanguard secret event, the Vanguard Series 2, all the information will be coming out about that very soon. But the people that are on our academy are going to get, not only do they get a discount on tickets, it's
pretty good.
They also get a discount on terrain, by the other way, but they also get a week's free, or weeks not free, but advanced access to buy tickets. Also, if you came to the first event as loyalty, we're also going to give you a week free, a week's advanced ability to buy tickets also. Okay, so before they go on general sale, they might already be sold out, because you need to be a student on the academy.
Yeah.
There we go. Look. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Appreciate it. Remember to like, subscribe, turn on that bell icon, and we'll see you next week with another live with Steve and Joe, and we'll be talking all things secondaries.
Yes.
Secondaries.
Yeah.
Right. Take care, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.